Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for Tea Chat. So Tea Chat is a newer feature on the vlog for when I'm just wanting to discuss something with you guys kind of open-ended, and today's Tea Chat is actually part of Fairy Tale Fortnight, which is my fairy tale event on the blog. If you're watching this on the vlog and you're unfamiliar, I will leave a link and some info to that below. So today's Tea Chat is all about FTF, Fairy Tale Fortnight, and what I want to talk about in the realm of fairy tales is some things that I want to see in retellings, or some things I would like to see changed. So being a lifelong obsessive about fairy tales, you get to know them in and out, and of course everybody's familiar with the tropes of, you know, the wicked witch and evil stepmother and damsel in distress and knight in shining armor, all of those things. They become cliches. We know them through and through. What I want to see is those tropes not only subverted but kind of analyzed. Things like the wicked witch or evil stepmother. I don't like flat characters. I don't like black and white. I want to see the why, and I want to see if maybe their motives are just being misinterpreted. For instance, you have a character like the witch in Rapunzel who makes a deal with her neighbors, essentially, to allow them to take the lettuce that they've stolen from her garden in exchange for the child that the wife is bearing. Now, of course, it's a little creepy and you're like, well, what does she want with a kid? And then we know that she keeps Rapunzel locked in a tower. I don't know that... I kind of want to see someone explore it from the perspective of the witch making this deal and the parents are willing to trade away the child. I mean, I know you can make arguments that, well, they had no choice, they were caught, they were thieves, and who knows what the witch will do to them, but they didn't really fight for Rapunzel. They gave her over for some lettuce. So from the witch's perspective, I think it's fascinating to kind of explore, first of all, why she would make that deal, but also, was she actually saving Rapunzel from a not-so-great life, from some deadbeat parents? And what was her intention in putting her in the tower? Did she feel like she was saving Rapunzel, or is she maybe mentally ill? Like, she never uses Rapunzel to do anything. What are her motivations, I guess, is what I want to know. Same for Rumpelstiltskin, for that matter. Not only what does he want with this child, but why would you make that bargain? And if you are willing to make that bargain, hand your newborn over to some little weirdo in exchange for what is essentially a lot of money, by turning the straw into gold, are you really the best suited to raise the child? Is Rumpelstiltskin saving the kid? And there's actually a short story retelling. I can't remember the name of it offhand. It's in one of the Ellen Datlow Terry Windling anthologies. I will put the name of it below, but it is a retelling of the Rumpelstiltskin tale where Rumple is actually kind of a savior. And I love it. It's one of my favorite short story retellings, and I've read it many, many times. So there are definitely people out there who think about these things and fix them, I guess. Fill in all the gaps to make it make sense and to make it much more interesting and layered. I think it's really easy to fall back on the evil stepmother trope and the wicked witch trope and the scary old lady thing, but it's much more interesting when it's nuanced. For me personally, it's much more interesting when things are just kind of at cross purposes and who people think someone is isn't who they actually are. Of course, there are some that are harder to explain away. Cinderella's stepmom, not so great. Snow White's wanting to cut her heart out and eat it, definitely not so great. So, I mean, you know, there are certainly some that would be harder to explain away, but that makes me even more eager to see what the explanations would be if someone can come up with them. So that's probably the biggest thing I want to see. I want to see those black-hearted villains kind of redeemed and get the explanations for why they do the things they do. There are also some smaller ones, though, that have always bothered me. For instance, Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. I mean, kid is a thief and a murderer. He climbs this beanstalk into, you know, giant land, just takes their crap, like, gives no fucks. And when the giant rightfully tries to get his stuff back, he kills him and is lauded as a hero. And that has always bothered me since I was, you know, 6. As soon as you're able to kind of think of what's right and wrong rather than just what's shiny and exciting, like a golden egg and magic harp or whatever, and you start to really analyze, like, what in the world is going on, what's being said with this tale, it gets a lot murkier. Kind of the flip side of wanting the villains to be redeemed. Some of the heroes kind of need to take flack for some of the things that they do. And Jack, I think, is kind of like top of the heap where that is concerned. I would like to see someone write a story of Jack as an adult, so after everything that happened, maybe it flashes back to the things that he did when he was a kid. I want to see what Jack makes of his life after becoming a celebrity for being a thief and a murderer. I'm really curious how that story turns out for him. If he's like, you know, got an American Psycho trail of bodies in his wake. Curious. And then there, of course, are also just little pet peevey things that are like stupid plot holes that drive me nuts, like Cinderellas Slipper. What's the deal with that? From Cinderella's perspective, and there have been some stories that have kind of dealt with this in interesting ways, so I do like some of the retellings of this. But basically, say you're Cinderella. You go to a ball, meet a nice prince as one does, and fall in insta-love, I guess. And then you have to leave because it's midnight and you lose your shoe. Now, the prince could employ many means of finding you, but the means he uses is to try your shoe on every woman in the kingdom. Okay, first of all, it's a little bit of a stretch to believe that it's only ever going to fit Cinderella's foot, because she either has ridiculously tiny feet or ridiculously large feet, or the shoe is magicked, which is the most likely explanation, but that's never stated, so we just have to believe that the shoe physically doesn't fit, especially when the stepsisters are cutting off parts of their feet to try to fit them. We have to assume that Cinderella just has freakishly small feet, which gets into like the sort of foot binding weirdness that people have imposed on women historically, and it gets a little gross. But also, the love of your life can only find you by your shoe size. He doesn't remember you. He's not going to recognize you. I mean, I know you're not wearing a fancy dress anymore, but really? So, you know, little things like that are kind of off, eat at me a little bit. And I like to see people take those little things that you know eat at them too, and then either invent the backstories for them or completely just twist them and be like, what is going on here? And I'm sure there are a million more, and I could probably go on about this all day, but this is just a quick tea chat. So that kind of got the ball rolling. Those are just some of the things that stand out for me in fairy tales that I want to see thoughtful adaptations of, things that I want to see in retellings that would likely win me over and make me very excited for them. So that's all, really, just a quick chat. So I got the ball rolling and definitely want to talk to you guys about it in the comments. Let me know some of the things that either have always bugged you in fairy tales, your pet peeves, and what you want to see done, or just in general, tales that you want to see given a more nuanced adaptation and their cliches subverted. So chat with me and everyone else in the comments, and let's keep the discussion rolling. And if you want more fairy tale stuff, make sure to visit Fairy Tale Fortnight, because there's tons and tons more going on. That's all. If you have ideas for tea chat, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys again for another fairy tale-ish video very soon. Thanks for watching.